All right, a lot of people say to me, Bob, do you gamble? I go, yes, you've seen my work and you've heard my stand-up. So, or if you haven't, that's a gamble. But my bookie is an interesting place because you are able to play and, you don't want to bet the farm. You want to keep your farm, especially these days. But if you enjoy it and you can have fun with it and you're not selling your prize pig or your favorite goat, you can do crazy stuff that can be fun, that can actually be fun, and you can make money. Winning season returns at my bookie. A winning season means doubling your first deposit. A winning season means Survivor, Super Contests, and Squares. At my bookie, winning season means hitting all your parlays and props with your feet up, watching your team trounce their rivals. Who doesn't want to see a team trounce? It just sounds like ballet, but it's not. They're trouncing. You can rejoice. It's time to celebrate the NFL season, right? Invest in your intuition and use the promo code SAGET. Yes, it's spelled SAGET. And use that promo code SAGET and double your first deposit. New players get up to $1,000 in free play, designed to add more excitement to the sport you love and the games you bet. From live betting to championship futures, every play you want to make is waiting at my bookie. It's simple. You make your picks, win big, collect your cash. Use promo code SAGET, SAGET, and double your first deposit. Your winning season begins today, only at my bookie. Remember, use the code SAGET, and my bookie will double your first deposit, and your winning season begins today, only at my bookie. Do you have a moose near the caboose that needs to be tamed? I'm talking hairy, big, and needs some support. Do you know what I'm talking about? I'm going to tell you. Thankfully, our sponsor today, Manscaped, has covered you to keep the hair looking nice and trimmed and feeling fully supported. Manscaped offers precision-engineered tools for your family jewels. Beluga. Did you hear that? That's your moose asking for Manscaped. That's what they say. Beluga. That's what a moose says. I have to tell you, I have nicked myself before in the baggage compartment, and you don't want to do that. You got to groom properly. Sometimes a personal will try to groom themselves with like a straight edger. That'd be crazy, right? Or just a regular razor. It just doesn't do what Manscaped can do. The Manscaped engineering team just perfected the greatest ball hair trimmer ever created, the Lawnmower 3.0. The premium Lawnmower 3.0 is waterproof. It includes an LED light because you want to see what you're doing when you go into the man cave area. And it's made with advanced skin-safe TM technology, which reduces nicks and cuts on your delicates. You can get this trimmer inside their Perfect Package 3.0, which also includes the Manscaped Crop Preserver Ball Deodorant and the Crop Reviver Ball Toning Spray. Both super practical, and they smell great too, which means guess what? Your balls are going to smell awesome. When you order the Perfect Package kit for a limited time, you get 2 free gifts, which are the Shed Travel Bag and the Manscaped Anti-Chafing Boxer Briefs. The Manscaped Anti-Chafing Cooling Boxer Briefs might be one of my favorite parts of the collection. I have them. I like them. I want more of them. The Manscaped Boxer Briefs have optimal temperature control with their crop cooling technology while keeping your pride and joy supported. The waistband is also super elastic to reduce chafing and rubbing. Plus, when your significant other sees this logo, they know they got a real Manscaped man on their hands. Pair these boxer briefs with their pH balancing liquid products like the Crop Preserver, and you're ready for anything. Of course you are. You got the Crop Preserver. You need to try this out for yourself. Get 20% off and free shipping with the code SAGET20 at manscaped.com. That's right. Get 20% off and free shipping with the code SAGET20 at manscaped.com. That's 20% off with free shipping at manscaped.com and use the code SAGET20. From the moose to the caboose, always use the right tools for the job. Hey, of course, it's me. I don't know what else I can say. It's Bob Saget. Bob Saget's here for you. That's all my branding. And this is a podcast that I'm loving more every time I do it. And I have a guest today that makes me love it even more. She's really, really, really special. And her podcast is called Unqualified, and she couldn't be more qualified. It's Anna Faris, and she is so sweet. And I met her when she was in her early 20s, and I guess I was in my early 40s, I think. And that's how we met, and we had a mutual friend, and she's just a very sweet person from the very beginning. And it is a very special podcast today. You got to do the things you always do. Look up to the top of the menu there, and you can subscribe and rate and review, or you can follow however you go about your podcast. And rate and review, always positive, like a Michelin guide, 5 stars. That's what you do. I think you can brainwash anybody at this point, so I'm trying to get you to give me good ratings, because anybody can do that, right? You can come up with anything. Oh, yeah, just give me great. My ratings are better. I'll just tell you that. So, so rate me good. And the other thing is there's a phone number up there that you can call. And there's an episode coming up soon where I'm actually going to be seeing the people as well. I'm going to be calling you guys back. You leave your name and your number. And on some episodes, I'll tell you on Twitter and Instagram stories whether you leave your name, number, and email. And then I will be wanting to see you on a Zoom just like this, as well as hear you. And most people, I think, hear these and don't look at the YouTube page that exists, that youtube.com/Bob Saget. It's really, really bad to say your own name and promote your own crap, but that's how you get people to see it, I guess, or find out it exists. So that's my intention. It's not self-promotional because I don't have that many YouTube people. I go on YouTube. I started YouTube. Should own something. America's Funniest Home Videos, pre-YouTube. Get hit in the nuts. I was the guy. There was no YouTube, right? Anyway, there was U2. Those were your nuts. U2, that's what I called them because I talked to them. I addressed them. I put stamps on them and I address them, but now with the mail so slow, it takes weeks for my nuts to get anywhere. All right. Well, let me think of a graceful segue to take you into somebody who is just so sweet and so amazing on the show Mom. So amazing since she started her career in many, many things, including all the scary movies. She's just, I don't know, she's a doll. Her podcast, Unqualified, has been on for a really long time. She is so good and makes me feel so comfortable to talk to her. And she's inspiring to me. So here comes Anna Faris. How's it going?
Good. When I ask that question to people that are on my podcast, I always think that we kind of don't, there isn't enough summation in the, it's I don't know, like it's all things. It's like I put on makeup today for you, Bob. Actually,
Thank you.
Also because
I comb my hair. Yeah, I had a whole Harrison Ford thing going.
Oh, good. I would have liked to have seen that.
I should have. It was all spiked and thinning and all that, so I did my little flattening.
But I don't know. There's like these moments of extreme. I don't know if extreme tranquility is quite right, but there's a relief that I feel guilty about of this feeling of almost recalibrating my ambition, I guess, to some degree. I don't know if I've quite. It's been a relief to think about things that aren't quite as material, I guess.
Yes.
I have especially, pre-COVID, I love to shop online. I like to buy nice things, whatever. And I don't know, which has been a relief to think, what are my needs? I love that. What are my base needs? And so I like thinking about that. I'm sorry, Bob, I'm not articulating myself very well.
No, you are. I'm buying clothes on Amazon. I'm buying sweatpants on Amazon, and I'm excited about getting them.
Yeah.
And they're extra long for me. I never had the time to really pick the perfect length.
I like the idea, and I'm not great at it, of the idea, is this the time to really live in the present? And I'm not great at that whole concept at all. I think, because, we're always thinking about the past, whatever. where we're going to get our next paycheck, or how are we, especially in our industry, but in all industries, how do we, the way we think about the future has shifted for me. And I think it has for probably a lot of people. Don't you think?
Priorities, a lot of priorities.
Yeah.
And I know you do your podcast Unqualified for the same reason I do mine. It's not like, oh, that person's in quarantine, so they're a person that's acting on a sitcom that can't, or a movie that can't go back to work, so they're doing it. But you do it out of the genuineness of wanting to do it. And
thanks, Bob. Yeah, although I will say that during this time, actually, it's been trickier to do. It's been easier in the sense that it's not like when I first started out with the podcast, Bob, a guest would come over to my house. We would have dinner, a shit ton of wine. Like, we would do the podcast. It was just like a fun mess, though, a fun, fucked up mess. And they would hang out for hours afterwards. And so, but it's been nice to attempt to shape it into something that feels a little more intimate. I think by circumstance, we kind of have to do that, which I think the Zoom, in a way, it almost creates maybe it's the insulation environment. I think it does create, like a lot of times my guests, I think when I would interview them in person, would feel the need to do a performance.
It's more of a show.
Because I would too, though. Well, everything feels frivolous, especially when we're talking about sort of, I don't mean to say this flippantly because there's a lot more to it, but when we're talking about our industry, and I think how not only are we privileged, but I think people like you and I also feel the guilt of I find it hard to talk about my own career concerns or my my bouts of anxiety and loneliness, because it feels a little gross and inappropriate. At the same time, I am striving for intimacy, and I want to be as open as I can be without damaging all my relationships.
Right. I have to tell you, and last time I talked to you was on your podcast, but you seem, with the insanity in the world, you seem to be in a better place today.
Oh, thank you.
So I don't know if it's because you're processing what I'm processing. And I'm not getting over, I'm having real trouble. It's going to be a while, and I didn't know him, processing Chadwick Boseman. It's so interesting because it has nothing to do with any of this racial tension, hatred, but all sides at each other instead of people learning to let's get through this and get past this, which we're not there at all. But his loss, what a hero. To keep your suffering private, to have the dignity. Everything he projected was just what an example of humanity.
I'm with you. It's making me a little choked up to think about it. I didn't know him either, but the idea that I think it was such a reminder of mortality and oh gosh, yeah, I know. It's that did, when I read that, it is, I'm 43. I mean, not to instantly self-reflect on, but I think the idea of in these fragile times that our superhero, or this, I'm sure he seems like an incredible man, and to have his passing, it's another reminder of how fragile things, how brittle things feel right now, and in the best of ways, I think, for me, all of the events of the last 6 months have made me really, not that I have yet, but really want to prioritize.
Right. No, you have. You have. The fact that you're saying it means that you are. I mean, all we can do is work on it. I
Yeah.
mean, we're in such a narcissistic business. We choose it because we have that gene, but you've always had nothing but, besides being talented as hell, you've always had that empathy and that sweetness. Always came through in all of your roles, everything you've ever done. And you really can't fake it. At a certain point, a person you can't, and if you can fake sincerity, but you don't fake it. You never have. I mean, I met you when you were like 21 or something, and I didn't do anything wrong. There was no restraining order.
Rats!
Darn it. We could have had some lost weekends.
Oh, man.
But the truth is, I mean, I'm watching the news today, and if I hate, then I'm feeding the hate.
Oh, completely. And it's exhausting too. Yeah,
it's been exhausting. I'll have nights where I'll watch the news, and then I have friends that don't necessarily reflect my views, but I still love them if they're not insane, But I mean, I just fall on, people go Hollywood types. They are just all about love and all about. It's like, okay. But there's some people that aren't you that are still doing podcasts right now, and they're just talking about their careers,
right,
and themselves, which is kind of refreshing sometimes to not talk about all this, because you can get this anywhere with all the pain we're in.
Well, I also don't know, how qualified. I think when George Floyd, there were obviously a lot of people in our industry who I have a contentious relationship with social media in general.
Yeah.
I came onto it late, and I don't, I begrudgingly, and I don't enjoy it. I don't obsessively. I don't look, not just even obsessively. I just don't really. I don't want to. I found myself, I think, early on when I joined, like looking at the likes and then feeling I was telling somebody the other day that I have a similar feeling when I look through a women's magazine a little bit afterwards.
Me too.
There's a feeling of deflation, though,
right?
Because of the comparison element that is inevitable.
It's like reading reviews all day long.
It feels, to me, it feels a little bit like a watered down format. What do you think about?
Well, I think it's the same thing, but sometimes it's helpful. Like if I'm trying to get a message out, I mean, I want everybody to vote. I personally would like to see change, obviously, but I know a lot of people that want what they want in November, and I just want things to be fair and honest, and they're not. And I can't be lied to anymore. I'm exhausted. I can't even be lied to by a clerk or on a phone. I was on hold with the DMV the other day for 3 hours. They told me they were going to pick up. They never did. They lied to me. I can't take any more. I'm done. Done with lying. And this post office thing drove me insane. So that's where I go, okay, Norman Lear put out a great video, so I can put that out and put my stamp. Oh, wow, a male pun of approval on it. And so that's how social media can, as an influencer, I guess, can do something.
Yes.
But then it's almost like texting someone and having a texting argument with them. It leads nowhere. It just, especially if it escalates, unless it's a love fest, then it's just fun. Then you got emojis going. But, if you're sending a bitmoji of talk to the hand, I hate you, that's like, stop
That's what that means?
Yeah, talk to the hand is, I don't want to talk to you.
Shit.
You've been sending the wrong signals.
I think I've been receiving them.
Oh, no. Well, not for me.
I think I think the next interesting social experiment with, in terms of connection, will be what platform can create the idea of safe intimacy.
I think it's just a walkie-talkie. I don't think we can do anything because they've got our phone numbers. They can get anything. You know, that don't text it. Don't text. They can read they can. If you text something, they can get you, you know?
Bob, I'm under the assumption that all the time, it's just on all the time. My every movement is some core tech, like, I don't know, intern is like tracking. I don't know, Bob. I know so little. I'm looking at my phone in paranoia as I say.
Are you on Citizen? Are you on that app?
What's that?
Citizen. Oh no, I shouldn't have told you. It's an app that tells you citizens, and it's an app that tells you what's wrong in your neighborhood and what's going wrong in the city, and where the fires. I got it for the fires, but then it tells you where the riots are. It tells you where protests are. It tells you where COVID cases are increasing. So if you have it on send a notification, you click a little thing and the little yellow square, you push it, and it'll say at Swarthmore and Sunset, man with stick.
How did you get this?
It's just an app, Citizen. It's right on your phone. I'm doing a commercial for them. I don't even know. You don't pay for it, and then it tells you all your other friends. Don't add people on there because then they'll know where you are, and it's just it's creepy. But I find it essential just because of the fires. That's why I got it, just to make sure that I'm out of the building if I have to evacuate.
Bob, do you find that like a lot of, I don't know, maybe a lot of people in our industry were sort of natural introverts.
Yeah.
Because we spend a lot of time, playing our extrovert persona or whatever. And I don't love the sort of the black and whiteness of those terms, because I think that everyone's on that spectrum of needing whatever, both items of attention and then items of sort of aloneness items. But do you think, has this been comfortable for you in terms of being a more solitary? Were you solitary before?
Kind of. I'm not like a big shopper. And my wife, Kelly, is pretty amazing, and she's a cooking person. She's actually not an influencer. She has a production company where she has Eat Travel Rock, and it takes you around the world and shows you good restaurants and stuff like that. But now she's been doing COVID pieces on how to get back and be able to go out even to California coast, just to be able to do something that's safe and distanced. And it's just starting. It's not there yet, but she was able to find the right stuff because she's smart. But I like being home, and I've had some social distance friends come over, which is fun. Have you been doing that?
Not really. We've seen my folks, and we've seen Michael, my partner's folks. They are both immune compromised. Like we've got some health issues and stuff. I also find it really uncomfortable to be masked, to have, the elephant in the room with it. To me, Bob, it feels...
You're not talking politically with the elephant in the room, right? That elephant does not have a mask on.
But Bob, I was thinking last night, I sometimes I stay awake thinking about how, like, it's been very difficult to gauge how anxious we should be, because we have this divisiveness and all kinds of mixed messages and a lack of trust in our government, who controls the CDC and the FDA or whatever. So there's all this trickle down, like, to me, it feels like this is this looming cloud of Russian roulette with this virus.
That's well put too.
That it feels, yeah. I mean, it feels like, and I can't help but think, are we tired now of dealing with it? And And are we, and we you know, we think we can manage it because we have to move on to make money or whatever. But I don't have, I think my trust level has been so broken down, that I think that we are very, I feel like we're behaving very arrogantly with this.
Some people are being absolutely insane, people that don't believe in science and people that are manipulating it because it's real. It's just real. And so anybody that doesn't think that is just wrong. But I also understand that we need to get back. So I've done a couple TV shows and they get COVID tested every day. No one's near each other. And it was fun. It was fun to do them. But it's strange. I mean, they're really working hard. They're very, very strict. And we're lucky. We're lucky that can happen. I mean, I can't go out and tour the country and do stand-up. You know, I'm not getting on a plane. I just don't want to. I don't want to get nothing. But it would be fun for you to do it. I found it to be an interesting distraction. And then I come home and watch the news, and then you have trouble the next day doing your work because you're so upset and you didn't sleep. You know, let's take a quick break. It'll just be quick. You know how quick they are. All right, here's something I haven't talked about before, and it's a new sponsor, and I'm excited to mention it to you because it's good for some people. These days, it seems like people are putting CBD in everything. There's a lot of noise, but there's only one company from Vermont that's worth the hype, and that's Sunsoil, Sunsoil. USDA Organic Sunsoil makes CBD oil that is USDA certified organic. CBD is made from hemp plants, so how the hemp is grown really matters. Sunsoil farms that hemp in Vermont, of course they do, and they never use pesticides, herbicides, or GMOs. It's got simple ingredients, and I try to be mindful about what I'm putting in my body or in other people's bodies, and that's why people love Sunsoil, because it's made from simple ingredients that they can pronounce. Many of their products contain coconut oil and hemp, and that's it. Sunsoil's got fair prices. Because Sunsoil farms their own hemp and makes their CBD oil in-house, their prices are less than half the price of other brands. So you get organic CBD at an unbeatable price. You can't beat it. Sunsoil makes CBD oil with simple organic ingredients, and you can get 30% off your first order by going to sunsoil.com/Bob. That is sunsoil.com/Bob for 30% off your first order. That's, I don't know if you heard me, that's sunsoil.com/Bob. Do it now and relax your day away with some lovely hemp from Sunsoil. You know, a lot of people do some of these ads, and this is one of my favorites just because it's so much fun, because it's been designed pretty perfectly. Do you have a moose near the caboose that needs to be tamed? I'm talking hairy, big, and needs some support. Do you know what I'm talking about? I'm going to tell you. Thankfully, our sponsor today, Manscaped, has covered you to keep the hair looking nice and trimmed and feeling fully supported. Manscaped offers precision-engineered tools for your family jewels. Beluga. Did you hear that? That's your moose asking for Manscaped. That's what they say. Beluga. That's what a moose says. I have to tell you, I have nicked myself before in the baggage compartment, and you don't want to do that. You got to groom properly. Sometimes a person will try to groom themselves with like a straight edge, or that'd be crazy, right? Or just a regular razor. It just doesn't do what Manscaped can do. The Manscaped engineering team just perfected the greatest ball hair trimmer ever created, the Lawnmower 3.0. I got to say it again because I can't even imagine I get to say this. This is a gift. If you told me 10 years ago I would get to say the Manscaped engineering team just perfected the greatest ball hair trimmer ever created, I would say thank you so much for this award. The Lawnmower 3.0. The premium Lawnmower 3.0 is waterproof. It includes an LED light because you want to see what you're doing when you go into the man cave area. And it's made with advanced skin-safe TM technology, which reduces nicks and cuts on your delicates. You can get this trimmer inside their Perfect Package 3.0, which also includes the Manscaped Crop Preserver Ball Deodorant and the Crop Reviver Ball Toning Spray. Both super practical, and they smell great too, which means guess what? Your balls are going to smell awesome. When you order the Perfect Package Kit for a limited time, you get 2 free gifts, which are the Shed Travel Bag and the Manscaped Anti-Chafing Boxer Briefs. The Manscaped Anti-Chafing Cooling Boxer Briefs might be one of my favorite parts of the collection. I have them. I like them. I want more of them. The Manscaped Boxer Briefs have optimal temperature control with their crop cooling technology while keeping your pride and joy supported. The waistband is also super elastic to reduce chafing and rubbing. Plus, when your significant other sees this logo, they know they got a real Manscaped man on their hands. Pair these boxer briefs with their pH balancing liquid products like the Crop Preserver, and you're ready for anything. Of course you are. You got the Crop Preserver. You need to try this out for yourself. Get 20% off and free shipping with the code SAGET20 at manscaped.com. Your balls will thank you, and I'll thank you because I got to be part of it. That's right. Get 20% off and free shipping with the code SAGET20 at manscaped.com. That's 20% off with free shipping at manscaped.com and use the code SAGET20. From the moose to the caboose, always use the right tools for the job. I'm much happier at this age than, like people always ask, I'm sure they've asked you, if you could talk to your younger self, what would you say to your 20-year-old? I get that asked a lot, and I go, I don't know, listen better. But what I've done more, I think, is understand that I actually am as good a person as I was taught to be by my parents. Mm-hmm. You know, be a good person. Don't do this, don't do that. And then my mother said, don't say that. So that put me up on stage cursing, you know. And then my father would tell me dirty stuff. But then I wanted to be the family guy. So I have a very bipolar career because of it, because I am. No, I'm not bipolar. I don't think there's a diagnosis for me. But, I mean, with you, are your parents still up in Washington?
Yeah, they're still up in Washington. I think they're actually going to come and stay with us for a little bit. That's
nice.
Yes, yeah, it is nice. I mean, you know, they wake up really early and they are ready to engage in conversation at 5 a.m.
What is that? Are they going fishing? What do they do? I can't.
They just get up really early all the time. They're great. They're incredibly supportive. They're incredibly, I mean, to the point where I have an older brother, and I think that they were hard on him in terms of, they were worried about his career ambitions and, you know, if he was going to do well, if he was going to be able to make a living in life. So I remember them putting a lot of pressure on him to have a practical career. He's now a professor. But with me, it was, they were like, you should act. And in fact, when I told them in college that I didn't want to pursue acting anymore because I never thought I would make it, I never thought, well, it just felt like a silly dream. And I'm really glad that I had that mentality.
Were you doing it all through high school? Were you acting in plays?
Yeah, and outside of high school, so which gave me a different identity that was much more important to me. Acting with, there's a big theater community in Seattle, so I would do a lot of plays, and I loved being around the adult actors, and it felt like school was, I mean, to like every kid, it's a chore, but to me, it felt like truly just doing time. Like that my identity was elsewhere. And, but when I decided to quit in college, I remember them being a little disappointed. They didn't pressure me, but I remember them being disappointed. And then in turn, when my senior year, I booked a movie called Lover's Lane. I think we talked about Lover's Lane.
We did.
Yeah. And that was and my parents, once again, when I said, I think I might move to Los Angeles and try acting. And I remember them being like, okay, great, bye.
That's rare. You know that? That's rare. My parents, too. I went to film school, and I won a Student Academy Award. The Academy flew me out when I was 20 for a documentary I made. And so my mother thought I was like, the second coming. And she was like, oh, anything, Bobby. You can do anything. You're amazing. And then I would start doing stand-up, and she'd go, why are you talking like that? She sounded like, Mickey Mouse. And then, but my parents were both, what I wanted to bring up, well, let's stay on your parents for a minute, because I had a thing about my dad and what he went through. But so they have been going through this Seattle stuff, and they've been watching this. So how have they been dealing?
Well, it's funny. I get the feeling, because we bought a used camper van, Bob, and we drove up and we saw them, but it's actually broken down now for the third time.
Do you need somebody to come over? I know some mechanics that are mobile.
Well, somebody came over and they hauled it away after we got like 3 parking tickets on the street. But but I think that I think that my mom is probably, I mean, in terms of COVID, she's a hoarder. She's been prepping for this. She's a great cook. They stay at home pretty much all the time anyway. But I think that, it's interesting. It felt like the climate in Seattle, it was almost like I was much more inquisitive about sort of the turmoil there than they were. They were like, well, I'm not quite sure what's going on with CHAP or CHOP or whatever it was. And then I spoke with another friend, and it seemed like what I heard from only a couple people up there was that they felt like Fox News was that certain media outlets they were definitely amplifying.
How could that be? They don't. What? They're not known for that. But there are some things I go to that make sense. But I don't like fear tactics. I just don't like it. So your parents didn't think people were coming to their suburbs,
no,
like Sasquatches coming in. Have they seen Sasquatch? I mean, they're up there.
Oh yeah, they are. Yeah, no, I think there's one in the ravine.
Oh, I'd love. Can they get any pictures? I'd love it.
Easy. Yeah, I'll send them to you. But hey, Bob, wait, I want to hear about your father, but I did want to ask you before I forget. How, I think we talked about your experience podcasting before, but I was going to ask you, do you find there must be a difference when you talk with other podcast hosts as opposed to celebrities? Because I noticed that. What do you notice about that?
Well, first thing, this is a delight talking to you.
It's a delight talking to you.
Oh, see, we would be hugging if we were,
Yeah.
but safely. It wouldn't be too long a hug. It would be appropriate. Neither of our people would be concerned. But I love conversations, and I know you do too. And especially now, I'm loving it because I don't feel as alone, and I know that people aren't feeling as alone. So when I talk to someone that does it all the time, which isn't all the time, I had Bill Maher on recently, and he had just done his show, and he was coming off of that, but he was still very open, and people have all kinds of opinions about everybody. I mean, my God. But the people that you have conversations with, and I call people, you talk to people, actual, not celebrity type people, and that's refreshing also to be there for people. But when you talk to a podcast host, there's just you go right into convo. You just go right into it. Yeah. There isn't any, and I find myself wanting to listen more. You don't feel like you have to help the other person assimilate their thoughts, or
no.
Everybody's got a podcast, though. It's insane.
But it is interesting to talk to, like there can only be sort of loose categorizations with like there are only sort of some vague patterns I can put together in terms of like when I talk to a stand-up, when I talk to a podcast host, when I talk to a younger actor in their 20s, or it's for me, I love talking to podcast hosts because of the same thing that there's, I think that a lot of times, especially people who haven't done a lot of podcasts, we as actors have a, our defenses can be so high of like, what am I going to be trapped into saying? Will there be clickbait? Will there, like, am I going to, fuck myself on by some, you know what I'm saying? So
yeah, and if you had a problem or I had a problem, the advantage with having your own podcast is you could say to me, I felt uncomfortable with that. And I'll go,
right.
Okay, no one will hear the edit.
Right.
In fact, I'll cut that out.
But I think that's and which is something that I never want to be. I don't have an agenda in terms of getting a particular information out of somebody, because usually I just have no idea what it is anyway. But
that's what's so genuine about it. That's why you're so great at it.
Like,
I mean, and you also have delightful people like Kenan Thompson is just a sweetheart. He's love. And you had Seth Rogen, and Seth he could basically do pretty much anything that exists in the arts and beyond.
Yeah.
And in a head shop if they still existed, but he's very good with glassware and vaping. But he is did you see An American Pickle?
No. And I feel really embarrassed because we did the podcast, although I don't think they sent us the link for it. But is it great?
It's a joy. I wanted it to be longer. I wanted to delve more. He did an amazing thing. People have done this before. Nick Cage did it, where you play two characters, and we've seen it. And he's so special. He's just so wonderful and such a meticulous professional. And loves his pot so much. And some people, I couldn't smoke and be able to be as spot on as him. But he's so comfortable with who he is that it's just a little added accoutrement tool for him. But he must have been a very easy conversation.
Yes, and we had known each other for a while. I'm trying to think of, I'm doing Paris Hilton on Tuesday.
When you say that, you mean on the podcast.
You don't know what I mean.
Oh, my grandmother. I'm watching the YouTube of that one.
But so I think, and my prep, like I attempt to tailor things, I'm sure you do too, for you start to think about like what is a good angle with getting authentic feelings, authentic conversation out of somebody. And that is that can be tricky. Sometimes it is like, you're sailing upwind, you got to tack. I don't know how to sail. It feels like that's an appropriate analogy.
It is because you go on a wave for a while and then there's nothing.
Or you realize you inadvertently stepped into sticky territory without, like, that person just got visibly uncomfortable.
Or why did I say that? I am an idiot. And then you're like Chris Farley, may he rest in peace. Why did I do that? I'm so stupid. The Chris Farley show. You're Paul McCartney. Yes.
Good, wasn't it?
Oh,
what a gem.
So let me just take one more quick break and then we'll come back.
Okay, I'm going to use the restroom again, if you don't mind.
Oh, this is awesome. These are the best pee breaks ever. There are tons of VPN providers out there. You've probably heard of a couple of them, and some of you may have even used a VPN before. But I like to do research on my sponsors, and I only recommend brands to my listeners that I believe in. I can say with full confidence that ExpressVPN is the best VPN on the market, and here's why. You ask me why? I'll tell you. ExpressVPN doesn't log your data. You know how important that is? Lots of really cheap or free VPNs make money by selling your data to ad companies. ExpressVPN developed the technology called Trusted Server that makes it impossible for their servers to log any of your info. Second is speed. I've tried lots of VPNs in the past. Many slow your connection down or make your device sluggish. I've been using ExpressVPN for quite a while now, and my internet speeds are blazing fast, on fire. fast. Even when I connect to servers thousands of miles away, I can still stream HD quality videos with zero lag. It's one thing you don't want is lag. Zero is great. The last thing that really sets ExpressVPN apart from other VPNs is how easy it is to use. Unlike other VPNs, you don't have to input or program anything. You just fire up the app and click one button to connect. It's so easy, even your grandparents could use it. God bless them wherever they are. And it's not just me saying this, by the way. Wired, The Verge, CNET, and many other tech experts rate ExpressVPN the #1 VPN in the world. So protect yourself with the VPN that I use and trust. Use my link, expressvpn.com/Bob today, and get an extra 3 months free on a 1-year package. That's 3 free months. That's pretty cool. That's expressvpn.com/Bob. I'll say it again because that's what we do. Visit expressvpn.com/Bob to learn more. Thanks. All right, a lot of people say to me, Bob, do you gamble? I go, yes, you've seen my work and you've heard my stand-up. So, or if you haven't, that's a gamble. But my bookie is an interesting place because you are able to play and, you don't want to bet the farm. You want to keep your farm, especially these days. But if you enjoy it and you can have fun with it and you're not selling your prize pig or your favorite goat, you can do crazy stuff that can be fun, that can actually be fun, and you can make money. Winning season returns at my bookie. That's right, a winning season. And that means, a winning season means doubling your first deposit. A winning season means Survivor, Super Contests, and Squares. At my bookie, winning season means hitting all your parlays and props with your feet up, watching your team trounce their rivals. Who doesn't want to see a team trounce? It just sounds like ballet, but it's not. They're trouncing. You can rejoice. It's time to celebrate the NFL season, right? Invest in your intuition and use the promo code SAGET. Yes, it's spelled SAGET. And use that promo code SAGET and double your first deposit. New players get up to $1,000 in free play, designed to add more excitement to the sport you love and the games you bet. From live betting to championship futures, every play you want to make is waiting at my bookie. It's simple. You make your picks, win big, collect your cash. Use promo code SAGET, SAGET, and double your first deposit. Your winning season begins today only at my bookie. Remember, use the code SAGET, and my bookie will double your first deposit, and your winning season begins today only at my bookie.
Bob, what have been like the top 2 visual experiences of your life? I mean, wait, but separate family.
Yeah, because birth of a child, you would say,
yeah.
but that's not visually gorgeous. I mean, it's a miracle.
No, but it is crazy.
It is
It's
something.
Like, yeah.
I've cut cords before.
Yeah.
It was
a lot of intensity in those moments.
Oh man, sometimes I'll go into random rooms in maternity and just cut other people's cords.
Yeah.
Because I love it. I love being
Bob Saget.
Bob's the go-to cord guy.
Well, here's what I was thinking about.
Career? I have a couple career ones.
Well, I didn't want to lead. I was thinking about, and I look back with a lot of gratitude and nostalgia when I think about, like our family trips to Italy or the amazing things that I've had the great fortune to experience. And I was thinking, am I let's say that maybe those trips don't happen again. Am I okay? Just whether it's for financial, practical, COVID, whatever it is.
They will happen again, by the way. They will. I promise.
Well, but there's a high degree of comfort that I can look back at those and feel like, man, I got to experience those things once in my life.
I have one.
Okay, good.
No, go ahead. I cut you off. I'm sorry.
No. But like one of them for me would be in Cortina in the mountains of Italy. They have these gondolas, they take and they go incredibly high, and there's the very top. You take 3 of them up to this ridge, and you're just staring at this sea of peaks that are the Dolomites have this pink hue to them, and these massive, like, the, you know, granite and whatever makes them pink as well. And it's just miles of mountaintop. And it's interesting. There are other tourists up there, and people are quiet because it is just so astounding to get the privilege to witness that with our own eyeballs.
Yeah. Yeah.
Something like that. Does that sound a little stony? I promise.
No, it sounds exactly. I'm in the same mindset, so I don't know. Maybe I vaped. I don't remember, but I have one more that happened recently. The last trip we took, which was with my kids and old friends that they grew up with, these kids as well, close friends, and Kelly and their mom. And their dad had passed away, so it was like our first family vacation that used to be like when they were young. When I was married to my first wife and single, we would be with these kids. And we went to Cabo, and we stayed at the Palmilla, which is a nice place. And everything was very expensive, and we were complaining because that's what, you know.
That's what you have to do there.
That's what you do.
So
you complain.
expensive.
Was that oyster bad? You know, just annoying people.
Uh-huh.
So, and dinner on New Year's Eve was so expensive, and we complained and complained and complained. I love when the universe plays a supreme joke on you that teaches you a lesson. Like, why are you complaining, you foolish moron? And but dinner was like really, really expensive for everybody, for all the kids and everything. They're kids. They're in their 20s and 30s. And then they said the party of the year is going to happen. So you have to, and it had high security, crazy security for the party of the year. And we go there and we're complaining, and we go to this party. And it was the most amazing thing I've ever seen. And we laughed so hard. And what they did was, I mean, it was gorgeous. They had monoliths of things they brought in. They had an amazing DJ. And then they put on soundproof headphones on everybody. And they turned off all the monitors, but it was loud in your headphones. So everyone's dancing.
What?
And if you're watching it, you see people dancing. It was like watching not reality. It was like watching the future.
So cool.
Everybody's dancing, but you don't hear a thing. But it's blasting in your headphones. Everybody's on these amazing, I know people have done it that are listening, but it was, and I'm smoking a cigar and we're drinking tequila.
So it's like, this was all fucking worth it. This is magical.
It's like, oh my God, it is the party of the year. Boy, am I an asshole. It was so much. I danced for hours. I'm not that guy. And then my daughter said, hey, Dad, want another shot of tequila? You know, it's like, you know, it's
That's amazing.
They enabled me.
That's incredible.
What did you have something like that? What was your New Year's before all this insanity?
Oh,
dropped?
I'm never a New Year's fan.
Right.
It's like, you know, it's the night of high expectation. It feels like your birthday. It's like,
yeah.
Am I like, but I also, I don't know. I'm trying to think of I don't think I've ever had much of an eventful New Year's. But I do like, I want to think of a good counterexample to something where, I don't know, the idea of the universe sort of playing a joke a little bit on you.
Right. Or it living beyond your expectations, or like,
yeah.
It's when you're sideswiped that it's so cool.
Yes, in a positive way.
Yeah. Oh yeah, we're all getting sideswiped now. But was it a trip, vacation, or was it?
You know, just recently we went camping up on Orcas, or on San Juan Island, which is up in Washington, and we've been, like I said, we've been trying to really quarantine really strictly, but the orca, I wish I could show you this video. There's a lot of orca up there, and they were right. I mean, they must have been 20 feet away, like offshore. And it was because the boats, like the whale watching boats, they have to stay with like 200 yards out. Anyway, they were so close, and it was so majestic. And it was like one of those days that are where the sun, like that you'll kind of only get up in the Pacific Northwest, well, at least for me, where the sun, everything feels so sharp. The water is glistening, the trees are incredibly green, like the sky is ridiculously blue, the mountains are snow-capped.
And it's real. It's not like you took mushrooms or something.
Right. It's the vividness of clean air, maybe.
Yeah. And also, I guess your mind's on receive. And so you're able to take it all in. And it is breathtaking how beautiful the world is.
I'm really thankful to my parents to, we would go hiking every weekend. We would, and which is a great way to actually kind of be forced to engage with your parents, which I now can realize. Michael, my partner, has 2 teenagers, and I have an 8-year-old now, but like, how do you get them to engage? And I realized that hiking was pretty, there's nothing to do. But my dad would have us appreciate the silence. And
I love you, Dad.
My mom would point out the different tree, I think that has the appreciation of nature that they instilled in me, I think has been really helpful in finding a sense of myself a little bit. Not that I have much of it in this industry in particular, I think.
Well, I respect the hell out of that. I'm not really a camping guy. I've done it.
Yeah. You need a bed.
I do. I
need a bed.
I rented a big old trailer that was brand new, actually. And I drove to Death Valley with my 3 daughters years ago when they were little, when they were like 5, 8, and 11, something like that. And I stocked it up with all their stuffed animals, and I had all the microwavable food, and it had a retractable sidearm that made the thing bigger. And I drove to Death Valley, but I wouldn't stay in the trailer parks. I would stay in places you're not supposed to stay, like monument parking lots. And then in the morning, I'd wake up and the rangers would come and say, you have to leave. And I'd be in a robe cooking turkey bacon. And, and tourists are coming in to see it. And I'm not supposed to be there, but it was really funny. And then we returned the trailer with no propane. We never emptied the septic. Yeah, sure, no water. I basically returned it as a Band-Aid box. But the kids will always remember it. They'll go, Dad, what were you thinking?
Yeah, but they will. That's amazing. That's amazing. I think we I don't know. We look for those moments.
Have you had nighttime experiences camping with animals that scared you, that kind of thing?
No, I don't, and even if they're, I don't know. Maybe it's the result of having an older brother, but I kind of pride myself in not having irrational fear. I don't know if this is exactly linked to what you're suggesting. And it's not that I think that bad things won't happen to me. I do think that, but I don't, I think I always bristled at the idea of being, to me, it fell into when people get, squeal about spiders or bees or whatever, I actively work against those impulses.
Right.
To me, it fits into, as I would watch my friends do that, or whatever, growing up, it was so important for me to be in control, not necessarily tough, but in control, and not letting what I perceived as an irrational fear, whether it was or not, just in all kinds of things with life. I'm really lucky because it led to some foolish moves later on. Lots of weird stranger, encounters where, anyway, but that's a whole other story. So I don't know that, I know that was, I pulled a thread that maybe didn't go anywhere, but.
Well, it kind of did.
Well, I was very upset having been born a girl.
Really?
Yes. Yeah.
To what age?
43.
So you still want to be a guy?
No, it's I don't.
You
But
know, it's never too late.
I think I could not wrap my head around what I felt was the injustice. And my aunt, who was religious, gave me a Bible, I think, on my 9th birthday. And I picked it up out of curiosity, and I started, I think, I maybe got through page 1 of Genesis. It was a children's Bible. But, and I just thought, oh, no, I don't know if I can handle this. The idea that God created man and woman, and yet we're being punished for being the weaker sex, for this apple thing. I don't know.
Well, you're a rib, apparently. That's the weirdest.
Yeah.
I
But
mean, that's not good. I mean, here, we created this thing, and now you get to be a bone.
I hated falling into the idea of, right. I hated the idea that of being the weaker sex. So
It's understandable. Jeez.
So anyway, point being, if there was,
but you're not, you're not.
Well, but I subscribed. I'm sort of I like the idea of individualism. I have a tough time with categories in general.
Me too.
But, yeah, I think that they tend to lead to underestimation. But anyway, if there was a bear outside the tent, well, I would be in the camper van anyway.
And just send out one of the kids.
Yeah. Isn't this exciting? So I don't know. Have you had a scary animal encounter? I want one.
I'm trying to think. I went on a trip to Africa years ago, and there were bats in one of the rooms, and we don't like them, especially now. They're not very popular. And so that was scary, just trying to get rid of the bats.
The large, like, fruit?
No, it wasn't those new ones that came out that are 6 feet tall. Did you see the pictures of those?
No.
I don't think anything's real. I think everything has become what used to be called the National Enquirer or the Star Examiner. And everything, we are in such crazy people beliefs. I've had enough of it. Just nut jobs. Everybody's got a voice. And you're supposed to. But my God, it's nuts. I mean, it's so obviously nuts.
It feels like the landscape is quicksand. It's like where and who do you trust? Like, or, and I've also been proud that I tend to not, especially for somebody in our industry, I tend to be pretty trustworthy and, I mean, not trustworthy, trusting. Don't get me wrong, but I'm not much of a conspiracy theorist at all. And I still, it's not like I've changed, but the lack of trust that seems not being able to count on a trustworthy source of a reliable source of information is during.
I think we all have it. We all have it. No matter what you believe, everyone has a lack of trust right now and fear, and people are living in fear. But if someone's telling me, hey, vote for me because the opponent eats babies, it's like, well, really? Okay. And you're saying this because your brain is in your anus? That's how you're made? What are you saying? I don't I don't know people that eat people. I don't know them.
And I don't know.
Have you ever met a cannibal? I've never met one. I meet a lot of people. I don't meet people that eat people.
Well, they probably don't talk about it, Bob.
Oh, you know what? You're probably right. It's a secret society.
Yeah.
And they have a decoder ring and a handshake.
Of course. They meet up at like 2:48 a.m. And I don't know, Bob. I don't know.
We've got to solve all this, and you can do it. We can do it just by being positive.
Me? Oh, me?
Yeah.
I'm tasked with
You're putting out something. No, I'm not putting the responsibility on. Oh my God.
No, I don't mind. I just didn't know. I should get to work, Bob.
I had you on the list. You were third. The first is Eckhart Tolle, and then but nobody wants to subscribe. But I mean, some people. All I was going to say was I'm going to let you go because I want you to have a life today. But you have such a positiveness and sweetness, and what you do on your podcast is a gift for people. And you should be really be proud of yourself, and don't stop doing it. It's really, people need a connection, and and that's why I love this. It gives me a connection. I know it gives you a connection.
Thank you for saying that. There have been a few times during this whole experience where I have felt where I have my enthusiasm has waned with my podcast, because there were times when I just felt like I didn't know what to say. There were times, and I still feel a bit like that. But I do love the idea of attempting to, create a community, or at least have, that sounds lofty and broad and an impossibility, but I do take comfort in especially now that we took a break from doing the callers for a little while, and
Right.
Now we've revamped the project a bit, and now we have them again, and that's been really rewarding to talk to people about their lives, and so it's but it's not without saying that after, I think, I don't know, 4 or 5 years we've been podcasting, that, has it been that long? I think it may have been.
That's so. What episode are you on?
I think 280 maybe.
Oh my grandmother, you're amazing.
No.
I'm barely hitting 50.
Listen, there's a solid 243 of them are not great. But thank you for saying that, because
well, it's real.
It's been I'm really proud that people are fans and listening.
Well, just saying you're unqualified, and that automatically draws people in, because it's human, and I don't know anything. But I'm interested, and I enjoy. I do research, but I'm not doing an interview per se. It's a conversation. So I'll try to see somebody's film. I do recommend An American Pickle. You will.
Okay, great. I want to see that today.
I mean, he's, to fall in pickle juice and being and he's kind of playing Tevye from Fiddler on the Roof, which obviously brings in billions of people on the earth. He's just a brave dude. I just, but so are you. You're so brave.
Thanks. So are you, Bob.
Thanks. I'm trying. He's just wearing our emotions,
I can't thank you enough.
Thanks for doing this. It's so sweet to talk to you. You kind of made my day.
You made mine too, truly.
It really felt sweet. Thank you.
Thank you, Bob. I so appreciate it. Bye.
Me too. Be well. Don't watch the news.
Okay.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Anna Faris. She is impossible not to adore. It's really interesting. I feel so comfortable talking to her, and that's when she was talking about how a podcast, you like interviewing a podcast host. It's not interviewing. I don't know why we call it that, but it's a conversation with. And I've done a lot of hosting over the years, and I've always talked to people. They always teach you, look into the lens, go to the back of the lens. That's your friend. And that's how I look at this. I feel like I'm talking to people that are my friend. That's my facility. And she has that so much. And so she's inspiring to me because she's always herself. I also love the idea that she goes camping. I could have saved so much money. Oh, what the heck was I thinking? She's just a doll, and I'm really thankful that she did this podcast. So thank you, guys. And what you do is a normal thing. You go up in the top there and you rate, review, subscribe. You could follow if that's where you're getting it. You can do whatever, but be positive. Let's try to be positive. Everything is so negative these days. Just like me. That's good. That's the opposite of Sally Field. It's not like you really like me. It's like, hey, fucking like me, okay? So I'm sending you all my best. Call the number up top if you want to talk to me sometime, and I'll be calling you guys. I'll let you know on Twitter and Instagram. Thank you. Please stay well. Please stay safe. Try to put love out in the world a little bit. Try not to let all this stuff destroy you as it does all of us as we get angry over stuff. I'm not saying don't care, but I'm saying vote. Vote's a good thing to say. I see nothing wrong with saying vote. It's just a word. And I mean it. And I think I'm going to take my ballot and just drop it into someone's hand personally. Just do a drive-by on voting day. I don't know if a mailbox is going to work. I'm worried. I found like 90 mailboxes in my backyard. I actually was sleepwalking and stealing mailboxes. I'm one of the problems. So I apologize. And I put them all back. Okay, that premise worked. Great. Guys, take care of yourselves. Be well, be safe, and try to stay, I don't know, as happy as you can, or maybe phrase it, try to stay as least angry as you can, and try not to take things as personally if you can. But when there's injustice, you got to speak your mind. Whatever helps you sleep at night, whatever helps you feel better, and just do what I'm doing, which is appreciate the people that you love, because at the end of the day, that's what you got. And it's a pretty good end of the day if you have people that love you. And if people don't love you, a friend of mine said, go to where the love is. So that's where I'm going. So thank you guys, and have a good one. All right, here's something I haven't talked about before, and it's a new sponsor, and I'm excited to mention it to you because it's good for some people. These days, it seems like people are putting CBD in everything. There's a lot of noise, but there's only one company from Vermont that's worth the hype, and that's Sunsoil, Sunsoil. USDA Organic Sunsoil makes CBD oil that is USDA certified organic. CBD is made from hemp plants, so how the hemp is grown really matters. Sunsoil farms that hemp in Vermont, of course they do, and they never use pesticides, herbicides, or GMOs. It's got simple ingredients, and I try to be mindful about what I'm putting in my body or in other people's bodies, and that's why people love Sunsoil, because it's made from simple ingredients that they can pronounce. Many of their products contain coconut oil and hemp, and that's it. Sunsoil's got fair prices. Because Sunsoil farms their own hemp and makes their CBD oil in-house, their prices are less than half the price of other brands. So you get organic CBD at an unbeatable price. You can't beat it. Sunsoil makes CBD oil with simple organic ingredients, and you can get 30% off your first order by going to sunsoil.com/Bob. That is sunsoil.com/Bob. for 30% off your first order. That's, I don't know if you heard me, that's sunsoil.com/Bob. Do it now and relax your day away with some lovely hemp from Sunsoil.